I'm Nathan Smith with Tallgrass TV. We're here with Alex Reinhard for the film Brave New Wild. And Alex, tell us what the film's about.
Brave New Wild, it's a feature doc, and it's about a daughter who finds her father's high tapes, and she kind of goes down a rabbit hole of discovering all these people who dedicated their lives to this absurdist art form known as rock climbing in the 50s and 60s in America. And it's also about her father as well, who was kind of an aspiring person. He wanted to be a part of society, worked for Bobby Kennedy's campaign, and after he was assassinated, kind of wanted to give up on mainstream society and became like a fruit tramp, picking fruit and rock climbing for about 15 years. So it's about that as well.
All right. So what was your role in the production?
My role, I'm the producer of the film, so, but in documentary, I don't know if other people have been telling you, but producer also has many hats. Director is not just one hat, so I also recorded the sound during the production. I contributed animation to the film and did some voiceover too, like sounds and stuff like that, so, but producer is my role.
Okay. Were you the sole animator, or was...
No, the director, so Oakley Anderson Moore is the director, and she, the same thing, had many hats, so she also did stop motion. She used these cartoons from this cartoonist Sheridan Anderson, no relation, who was around in the 50s and 60s in the climbing scene. He wasn't really a climber though, but he was drawing all the time, drawing the characters that are in our film. So she used these cartoons and actually animated them. So that was a really integral part of the film as well.
Nice.
And I kind of did, like sometimes when we used archives and you'd find free archives, but they were really crappy resolution and stuff like that. So I'd animate over them and turn it back into a film.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long did you guys gather footage for? How long did you shoot?
Oh, a long time. Oakley started shooting in, I did a couple interviews with Oakley, and that's how it kind of started with her father and his best friend Lars. And then in 2008, she went to the East Coast and filmed a bunch of these guys called the Bulgarians in New York. And then in 2009, we did a road trip in a 76 VW van and filmed people in California, Colorado, New York, New Hampshire. So then we also did some filming in 2010. So it was kind of like whatever we had money for, we keep on doing filming. But the filming was probably between 2008 to 2012 maybe. So about 4 years of filming, yeah.
So what was the genesis of the film? What inspired you guys to pursue this topic in particular?
It was all the director. So like I was saying before, her father was kind of a rock climber in the early 70s. So she had kind of grown up around him, hearing these different stories, hearing campfire stories about these characters from this world. And so when she was thinking about like, what am I going to do my first film about, she already had an inkling and wanted to do something about that. So she started contacting people and, can we interview you? Can you talk about this time? And for a lot of these people, they're close to like 70, 80 now. So it's talking about stuff that happened 50 years ago. So that's how she started, and she roped everyone in. I had never heard anything about it. I'd never climbed before in my life before I got started. But she taught me how to climb, because I was like, oh, I gotta know how to do it if I'm gonna be a part of this film. So it was all her.
Nice. At what point in the project did you join?
I joined in 2009, so a year after she had started, and really joined with that shooting. We shot a majority of those interviews. It was me and our DP, Nick Louie, and then Corinne Petlin. She did a lot of stuff, kind of like dumping cards or whatever we needed. So, and Oakley is the director and interviewer, so we all hopped in a van and just went for it. We broke down many times.
What was your favorite moment during production?
My favorite moment during production? Just probably just being in the van, hanging out, you know? It's like we would do 4 interviews and then, you know, like total doc style, we're just hanging out in the van. We popped the top, getting pulled over by the cops at night. No, you always remember the stuff that kind of goes wrong. Like I remember we were driving through this pass because it was closed near Yosemite, and I fell asleep in the back of the van, and I woke up and it smelled like all the brakes were burnt out. And the driver, I think Oakley was the driver, she wasn't downshifting to, you know, let the car do its work. Instead, and she just put it in neutral and was braking. So I woke up, and by the time we had gotten to the bottom of the pass, all the brakes had burnt out. So and I woke up and I didn't know what was going on, and they're like, "Shit, the van's not braking." So that was kind of fun.
Oh man! So what was the most important lesson you learned during the making of the film?
Persistence. I think I think every filmmaker goes through it. Like there's so many times you want to quit and you thinking like, why am I doing this? Like I'm not getting anything material out of it. I'm not, you know. But I think just wanting to do new things and being persistent at it and starting what you finish, because now it's finished, we're showing it at places, and for a while I was like, oh, I can't do anything, but now it's been a while and I'm like, I'm so proud I did this because I have something to show, you know, for all that hard work.
Did the nature of the film change as you guys shot? Did it differ at all throughout the production as far as what you initially set out?
For sure. Like, we actually made 2 different films. So this is a feature that we showed here, but we also have a short that's about the generation after about the 70s generation. And originally those were all together, but it just kind of worked out that the stories were better told apart and they were separate. So that changed. So we wanted to make 1 film when we started. We ended up making 2 films. Just a lot of things like narration and stuff, like it ended up being a more important part, I think, in the end. So yeah.
Well, what's next for both the film and for you as a filmmaker?
So the film we just completed about a couple months ago. So this is our 3rd screening, so we're looking to do more screenings, getting it out to more people, and seeing where we go from there. And then we have a couple projects that we're thinking about doing: a narrative film about pants-wearing, cigar-smoking, female ethnobotanist in the 1930s who takes this mistaken identity to kind of commandeer a scientific dig. And then also we're thinking about doing a doc on old-time fiddle competitions, because it's kind of interesting because you can only play certain songs, you can't do any original music. So I feel like a lot of artistry today, it's like, well, what are you doing different? What are you doing that's original? Whereas this world, that doesn't matter. And it's, don't play it in a different style, do the style the same. But in a way, it's like keeping that tradition, keeping that artistry is good, rather than kind of saying everything in the past is old. You don't need to do that anymore, that's boring. So it's kind of interesting, I think.
Okay. How have you enjoyed the festival?
It's been great. Everyone here is so attentive to the filmmakers, and you can tell there's a really great community. Like when you go to all the events, there's so many people that just support like that's what I've noticed maybe the most. Like I was just thinking about that today, like going to events, it just seems like people in the community really embrace this festival. So, and it seems like they really support it. So I think that's really important. You guys want to put on a thing for the community, for the filmmakers, you know. So it's it's important. Stubbornly independent, you know. That's very important.
Or what are some films or filmmakers that have inspired you?
I think like within documentary, I like Errol Morris. I think there's like a trend right now within documentary that if you film interviews, that's kind of like passé, and that everything has to be filming the subject matter with the filmmaker totally out of it. But I think Errol Morris, like Thin Blue Line, you know, the composition of it, I think what people lose is always trying to do something totally different, but I think there's a artistry in doing things the same way but doing them differently. So I think and different techniques he's come up with doing interviewing, I think he's really interesting. I like him. And then I don't know, I like all different kinds of things. I like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. So those are I'd say Errol Morris for documentary.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you for having us here. Our director Oakley couldn't be here, so I want to extend a thank you from her as well.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.